Hi, this is Joy Mayo from TreesCharlotte. I am our Community Engagement Manager. So excited to talk with you all more about our Mature Canopy Care for our Treesilience Initiative. So before we begin, just want to quickly give you an agenda for this conversation, including an introduction of our Treesilience Initiative, just so you have a better understanding of why we're doing this, how it benefits you, and how TreesCharlotte is being super intentional and specific about the work that we're doing. Next, we're going to have more information about understanding the problem. Why is TreesCharlotte have this Treesilience Initiative? What are the benefits for residents? And why should you care? More information about our Treesilience approach. So this is really great information just to learn about how Treesilience works with residents in our various Treesilience neighborhoods. Next, we have our Mature Canopy Care requirements. So this is great information for people to learn more about our Mature Canopy Care, how TreesCharlotte really works with trained arborists to make sure that we're doing right by not only the trees, but also homeowners. Next will be our next step. So what you should be expecting to hear from our community engagement coordinator, Cameron Smith. And lastly, our conclusion for this evening. So this video is primarily for those people who are unable to attend our last workshop, but super excited that for those people who are unable to attend, that you all are actually going to be able to watch the video, which is a requirement if you were not able to attend the meeting that we had for the various sites that we are working with. So just a little bit about TreesCharlotte. TreesCharlotte is a public-private nonprofit collaboration to grow, diversify, and steward the city's iconic urban forests. So that's something I always hear from people who are not native to Charlotte, which is the vast majority of people who I seem to run across, is that they're just amazed by the forest, the urban forest that we have here in Charlotte. And we're truly, blessed and grateful for that and the health benefits that it provides for residents. And that's partly why TreesCharlotte was created, really to make sure that we are growing that urban forest and also making sure that everyone can figure out how they can steward it. So we cannot do this work by ourselves, which is why we really rely on trained volunteers to help with science-based programs, to teach residents about the value of trees, how to plant and care for them. So just a little bit of information about what we do. So we are known for our tree plantings. You probably have seen TreesCharlotte trees all over the city. We've planted at greenways, we've planted at parks, we planted at local schools. CMS has been one of our greatest supporters. We've planted almost 10,000 trees at CMS schools all over the city. But we also work with neighborhoods, houses of faith, businesses, pretty much any place that has land and space for 25 plus trees. We're always looking. So in case you know anybody, it's a shameless plug. That's a big part of my job. I would love to talk with them. But check out our Community Woods program and or email me if you know someone. Next, our tree adoption. So City of Charlotte residents can receive up to 2 free trees from us per event. Definitely check out our website to learn exactly when those events are occurring. It's a great way for residents to receive free trees. As we know, the largest part of the tree loss is occurring on private property. So join us for some tree adoptions. Tell your friends who are not part of our Treesilience Initiative so that they can get some free trees from us as well. Next, we have tree care. So we have really ramped this up as our staff has continued to grow. This is a great opportunity for us to go back and steward trees that we have planted with our tree keepers, which are part of those trained volunteers that we talked about. So we don't want to just plop trees in the ground. We want to make sure that they're being successful. And our tree care and our trained volunteers really help with that. And lastly, education and outreach events like this one are great opportunities and ways for us to really get out in front of people and tell them about all the great benefits of trees, but also why they should be partnering with TreesCharlotte. Meet our team. Now, I'm pretty sure I introduced myself at the beginning, but I can be forgetful sometimes, and I've been known to talk fast. So I'm working on that. So I am Joy Mayo. I'm TreesCharlotte's Community Engagement Manager. You can also, let me see if I can move that. No, can't move it. Sorry. Cameron Smith is our Community Engagement Coordinator. Alex Smith is our Urban Forest Manager. So these are the two people outside myself that you're really going to spend the most time with from the TreesCharlotte team. Cameron is really my right-hand guy, really helps me get the word out. Treesilience, particularly now that we're in 3 neighborhoods, is a heavy lift. And Cameron really helps with that one-on-one attention and support for homeowners to make sure that they can participate. But we will talk more about Treesilience is not only for homeowners, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Alex Smith is our Urban Forest Manager, and I'll talk more about him. So at the bottom, we have several other people who you will probably come across from our programs team, including Heather Brent. I'm not sure why this box is kind of blocking her, so apologies, Heather. Kristen Riley, who is our Director of Programs. Christian Battistini, who is our Event and Volunteer Manager. And Mara Lind, who is our Develop and Marketing Coordinator. So these are the people who you're primarily going to be working with as part of our Treesilience Initiative. Next, let's look at the Canopy Coverage First Income Map. So the information on the left actually is from Tree Plotter, TreesCharlotte, in collaboration with the City of Charlotte, did a study actually last year, but it was based on 2022, to learn about what is the actual tree canopy here in Charlotte, right? What places, this is primarily by census block, has the greatest tree canopy. And as you can kind of see in the picture, that is outlined by the areas that are green, right? Have the greatest tree canopy. And then as the color becomes lighter green, those are the areas with the least amount of tree canopy. And just to put things in context, on the left-hand side, kind of in the middle, is the airport, which, makes sense about why there are probably not as many trees in that area. But just as a reminder, when we talk about canopy coverage, oftentimes that aligns with income maps. As you can see on the right, this is from the Quality of Life Explorer census data from the 2021 median household income. The county average is about 73%, is $73,124. So as it goes darker, right, those are households with the largest income. It's really, you're seeing it's concentrated primarily kind of in Dilworth, coming on down to Myers Park, to Ballantyne, and then going to kind of like Lake Norman as some of our highest income. So as you can see, it is very much aligned. People with the largest income are having the largest tree canopy. That's not new to many people who have studied kind of history with the United States. We often know that's the case. Those areas that are most underinvested have oftentimes the least tree canopy. And that's, a variety of reasons, Black and brown neighborhoods being near industrial complexes, highway systems going through our neighborhoods, et cetera, which, not only cause health issues for members of our community. But that's kind of my next slide. So just wanted to really show you all that there is a correlation between the canopy coverage and the income here in Charlotte. And that's very similar to most major cities. I have a quote from WFAE at the top. If Charlotte wants a healthy tree canopy everywhere, it will have to cover all of its neighborhoods. And that's really where Treesilience is really trying to have a greater impact. And we're going to continue to talk about that. So we're going to dive into why do trees matter. Most people are very familiar and know why trees matter, but we're going to talk a little bit more about the health benefits. So just looking at the picture, we know that tree shading buildings helps reduce your air conditioning use, right? Which reduces fossil fuel consumption, electric costs, various things like that. And we know oftentimes that is so important, particularly as it gets hotter and hotter during the hot months. But not only does it help with our wallets, right, having more trees, but it also helps with people. We know that trees help absorb particle matter from the air that we would in turn be inhaling from air pollution. So we're very lucky to have trees to kind of really help to help us breathe. But as we just talked about in the last slide, we know that all neighborhoods are not as fortunate with their tree coverage, which means that they're inhaling harmful emissions. Next, we also have talked about how it helps improve the neighborhood quality. So we actually know that people drive a bit slower down tree-lined streets. It's kind of a tunnel effect for people. And also it makes people think, okay, wow, this place is very well maintained and nice. So there's so many great benefits to trees, helping with, air temperature, particularly during these hot months, asthma rates with the health benefits that we can receive from people who live in tree-lined streets. So let's talk a little bit more about the Treesilience Initiative, right? We talked about TreesCharlotte, but let's really dive into what is Treesilience. And hope this will really give you a greater impact about what Treesilience is and why we're doing this work. Treesilience is a holistic tree care initiative to protect and enhance Charlotte's undercanopied and underserved neighborhoods while building community through trees. And we'll talk more about what is undercanopied kind of really mean for TreesCharlotte. We're able to do this great work because of our corporate sponsors, and we'll talk more about those at the end. As a result, we are able to offer all of our program for residents of the Ramblewood, Greenville, and McCrory Heights neighborhoods for free, right? At no cost to them. All of our programming for the Treesilience Initiative is free of cost. So let's dive into more. What are the components of Treesilience? Who can apply in these various neighborhoods? So Treesilience has multiple components. It includes tree education. Anyone can qualify or participate in the first three of these. So our tree education can include neighborhood tree walks. This is a great opportunity to really get out and about to see the positive benefits of the trees that you have in your neighborhood. What are the different tree species that you have? So it really brings trees to the forefront. As someone who always tells people I'm not much of a science nerd, they're very fun. I hope you will join us just to see how our urban forest educator, Heather, is really able to bring it to light and really make it fun and enjoyable for anyone who doesn't like a nice stroll in the evening. Next, we have our tree plantings. So this is something that we do as well as part of our Treesilience Initiative. This is very unique for TreesCharlotte, something that we had not done really previously. Planting in people's front yards is unique for us. Primarily, as I discussed before, we'll work with groups or organizations where I'm primarily talking to one or two people. But for Treesilience, we are working with homeowners and residents at individual private homes, creating planting plans, having one-on-one consultations to figure out what is the right tree for your house. based on your lot size, sun exposure, soil quality, all those things that our arborists, Heather and Alex, are really champions and great at. We're super excited to bring that 101 conversations for you to learn more about what trees should be planted in your yard in order to continue to receive those health benefits we just discussed. Next, we have tree care. So in the picture, you can see Heather and one of our great volunteers, Phil, is out helping out with ivy removal or invasive vine removal. And this is something we'll be talking about as we're doing our Mature Canopy Care consultations. We really want to kind of assess your property and figure out, okay, how can we make sure that we are setting up the homeowners or residents for success? But also the trees as well. If I could tag in some people in this presentation conversation, I definitely would, to talk more about how vines are so detrimental to trees. We know that it adds significant weight to trees, which can be detrimental during some of these crazy storm surges that we're seeing. That extra weight could be dangerous during the storm and can negatively impact your house. We also know that these vines, as they're climbing up your trees, is going to make sure that it gets all the water and light it needs to be successful, which means it could negatively impact the tree in your yard and cause it to, be more susceptible to disease and insect infiltration, which could eventually result in tree failure. So I know for myself, I did not realize how bad vines are for trees until I started this job. I always tell people, you don't know what you don't know. That's something hopefully we're really getting across here at TreesCharlotte, because the vines are everywhere. And we want to make sure that people know about that so that we can really ensure that the safety for the residents here in Charlotte, and also the safety for the tree. So, sorry, went on a spiel. Part of our tree care also includes helping with ivy removal or invasive vine removal in mitigation, right? It's something that goes on forever. So we'll definitely give more information about how to handle that going forward so that the hard work that we're putting in is not going to kind of backtrack. Next, we will also help out with some pruning for young trees and providing free mulch. So if you have not applied for that component of our Treesilience Initiative, please hit up Cameron at Cameron, Cameron, at TreesCharlotte.org so that we can modify your application to make sure we include tree care if applicable. And that includes the tree planting as well. Lastly, what we're really here about is our Mature Canopy Care. I'm going to go more into our Mature Canopy Care in greater detail throughout the presentation, but as a reminder, residents can receive free tree assessments. So we will bring out 2 arborists, right? Our track certified arborist, Mark, and I'll talk and introduce him in a second later on in the presentation. And Alex Smith, who actually works for TreesCharlotte, they're going to come out and they can give free assessments. This is super helpful for residents to learn about what is the health of your tree, right? Is your tree healthy? Is this something I need to be worried about? That is free of charge for any residents in our Treesilience Initiative. Qualifying residents can receive free care on mature trees. And we'll talk more about who are those residents who can receive free care. But as a reminder, anyone can receive and can participate in our tree education, our tree planting, our tree care. For the Mature Canopy Care, anyone can receive the free assessment to learn about the health of the tree, but only qualifying residents, and we'll talk about that soon, can receive free care on mature trees. And we'll talk more about what does that entail. So let's quickly talk about our Treesilience neighborhoods. So our current Treesilience neighborhoods are Bramblewood, which has a 40% tree canopy. You can also see the median annual income. Remembering from our last couple of slides ago, we know that the Charlotte average median income is about $73,000. So this is below the Charlotte average, meaning this is an underserved community where we want to make sure that they are providing and receiving the positive benefits of trees. When we talk about tree canopy coverage in TreesCharlotte, we know that the canopy coverage, the average for the city is 47%. Bramblewood is 40%. So here at TreesCharlotte, when I talk about under canopied, I'm talking about communities that are 40% or below. Bramblewood has its own set of environmental factors that also made TreesCharlotte want to prioritize a tree planting there. That includes the rock quarry that's across the street. I live not far from Bramblewood and often feel the quakes from the blasting. Also, it's near highway systems, and this Nations Fort Arrowwood is very near several industrial complexes, which, those emissions from the vehicles traveling up and down Nations Ford, negatively impacts the residents based on what we just talked about. Our second Treesilience Initiative is McCrory Heights. It has a 32% canopy coverage. We know our city average is 47%. Just as a quick reminder, I think I forgot to say this. Treesilience is a 3-year initiative. So we're in all 3 of these neighborhoods for 3 years. This is our 2nd year in Bramblewood and McCrory Heights. And we're very excited to continue to do that work to make sure that everyone is receiving the positive benefits of trees. Our third neighborhood and newest of them all is the Greenville neighborhood, which has a 23% canopy coverage, which is significantly lower than the city average of 47%. As you can kind of see in the picture as well for Greenville, it is very near several highway systems. So a lot of stuff going on with Greenville. Very appreciative that we can collaborate with the residents of this area to make sure that they're receiving the positive benefits of trees. So let's talk a little bit more about our Mature Canopy Care, which is primarily why people are watching this video. Our Mature Canopy Care is for qualifying residents with hazardous mature trees or limbs. They may receive support if funding is available. So as I told everyone just a bit earlier, anyone can receive that initial consultation from our residents that lives in the neighborhoods. We definitely want y'all to come out to learn more about how your tree is faring. For eligibility requirements, so this is how people receive the free work from TreesCharlotte based on that consultation. Residents must own and live in their home. Their total gross combined income for all residents of the household, including any rental revenue, must be less than 80% of the area median income. And we'll talk more about what that actually is in a second. They need to have a tree on their property that is threatening their safety. They must attend the Mature Canopy Care workshop. So this video is for those people who were unable to attend the in-person workshop. This is a requirement that you watch the entire video just to make sure that you completely understand what TreesCharlotte is going to do and what our expectations are for our homeowners. Lastly, homeowners must agree that any trees removed from their property will be replaced with 1 to 3 trees before Mature Canopy Care work begins. Pardon me. All right, so this is a quote from our former executive director. Treesilience strives to expand and preserve the neighborhood's tree canopy and improve air quality for residents. So really reiterating in a small one-sentence quote about what Treesilience is, and how we are really hoping to assist residents. All right, so this is more information about the AMI requirements for Treesilience Mature Canopy Care. It is based on the number of people in your household. As long as homeowners are 80% or below the average median income based on the number of people on their household, they can join us in receiving that free work for Treesilience. So this is all the stuff people really want to know more about. The consultations, right? When is TreesCharlotte coming out? So that I can have them tell me more about how is my tree doing, help me put my mind at ease, if it's doing well, if it needs support, what is that support, and how can TreesCharlotte assist? So you will be receiving an email from Cameron Smith, our community engagement coordinator. He will provide dates specific for the various neighborhoods. We're working with 3 neighborhoods, so we want to make sure we're intentional. So there will be 3 different dates, actually 4 different dates, because Greenville had such an outpouring of support. They will have 2 dates. So you will sign up for when you are going to be having the TreesCharlotte tree experts join you on site. We're going to give you a window of time that you will come in to learn more about the trees. This window is pretty much like when AT&T and them come by, right? It's crazy. So it may be from 10 a.m. to noon, and then maybe 1 to 4. Because we want to make sure that we're giving that window of time so our experts can really have those one-on-one conversations with homeowners. And those can last between 15 to 30, 45 minutes. Just depends on whatever questions that you have for our tree experts. Next, we would love for you to attend the actual consultation. So this is a time where you're going to learn about the health of your tree at that actual consultation in person. For those people who are hoping to receive that free work, they will need to show Cameron a proof of income, and we'll be sending an email about that more, just so you know what needs to be ready so that we can verify that you are within the AMI requirements. Hopefully during that consultation, you are also asking questions. This is a great opportunity to have a tree expert, answer any questions or concerns you have about your various trees. Next, let me include our tree expert. So I don't think I have introduced Mark Livingston yet. So Mark is joining us from Arbor Guard, which is a tree care company here in Charlotte. He is our consulting arborist. He has 20 plus years of experience helping out with trees. So we're very grateful to have Mark's expertise. He's also a track certified arborist, which means that he can assess trees and their hazard levels. So really great resource for people who are feeling a little weary about their trees. As I've mentioned before, Alex Smith, lots of talking. Alex Smith, our urban forest manager here at TreesCharlotte, has over 30 plus years in the tree field. He's going to be a great person as well to have at this meeting. So I do want to put this conversation in context when we are doing these consultations, particularly for those people who are receiving free work from TreesCharlotte. The arborist recommendation is based on the health of the tree. As our name is TreesCharlotte, we always want to preserve the tree when applicable. We are focusing on hazardous limb and tree removal, and that information was expressed in the application. The homeowner is under no obligation to work with us on their project if the recommendation does not meet their expectations. So you may wonder, why do y'all have this one slide and Joy was talking really slow during it? uh, Very much a reason for that. So as our name is TreesCharlotte, we want to make sure that we are doing right by the trees, but also by homeowners. Mark and Alex are really going to give great insight. We are only going to take down trees if it is absolutely necessary because the tree is dead or diseased or hazardous for the homeowner. There will be instances that we may take down trees based on the health of the tree, but we're not going to take down perfectly healthy trees unless there is a specific reason that our arborists are saying somehow it's hazardous. So just to make sure that we're all on the same page about that. As we talked about earlier, there are so many health benefits to trees, and we want to make sure that these neighborhoods that are underserved and under canopied are especially, receiving those positive benefits. We want to preserve their existing trees. We know it's going to take 30 to 40, 50 years in order for you to receive the positive benefits of a mature tree compared to a small tree that TreesCharlotte would plant. So just want to put that into context that we want to make sure we are doing right by the homeowner, but also that we're doing right by the tree. So, just more information about the expectations. Cameron will be sending you an email. It will have different days to register and time frames for your various tree care for us to come out and do that consultation. So please schedule a consultation with our arborist. Please plan to be there during that consultation so you can receive that information one-on-one in person. Next, you will be receiving the scope of work from TreesCharlotte. So we are going to tell you exactly what was discussed at the consultation. It could be, we will tell you what tree we will be doing the work on, what type of work that we will be doing for that tree. So we want to make sure everybody's on the same page. There's no type of confusion. That will be on the contract that we'll be signing. So please make sure that you are being very thoughtful of that. We want you to return the signed paperwork so that we know that you know, etc., etc., the scope of work that will be performed at your house, and return that signed paperwork. Just as a reminder as well, for that signed paperwork, and this is even for people who do not qualify, and I know I've talked about that earlier, you can receive a discounted rate to have ArborGuard do the work for you. So let's say you don't meet the eligibility requirements based on income, but you can still have the work done by ArborGuard at a discounted rate because they can do the work when they're there doing the work for your neighbors. So that was a little off. Sorry, back on topic. Our third expectation is that you're going to schedule the appointment, or TreesCharlotte will schedule the appointment, and that you will make sure that the site is ready for work. So this may mean moving cars. This may mean grills, different things like that, because we want to make sure that we are creating a safe environment for the people who are doing work on your trees. So I did talk a little bit about some of this. Preparation for Mature Canopy Care. You're going to receive a checklist in preparation. Review the scope of work, right? That's always helpful. So you know, okay, what is TreesCharlotte doing? What is TreesCharlotte not doing? Clear the work order of vehicles and debris. We just talked about that. As a reminder, not sure we've discussed this, the turnaround time may be very fast, that ArborGuard is able to come out and do the work. So please be ready for that with our partners. Mark and his team fit TreesCharlotte in so that TreesCharlotte is getting a little bit of a discount too to really help us get the work done. There may be instances that they may need you to contact Duke Energy to have your electricity turned off. And that will be conversations we'll probably discuss during that consultation. So that should not be a surprise for you all, that the power may need to be dropped to ensure safe working conditions. But we'll have those specific conversations one-on-one with homeowners. So for those homeowners where a tree is removed, right? And we know that that is possible because, if a tree is hazardous, dead, or diseased, that is part of our program. 1 to 3 trees will be planted in replacement. This is me just giving you information about when that would happen for the various neighborhoods. McCrory Heights in Greenville will happen Saturday, February 8th. And Ramblewood will happen on Saturday, March 1st. Prior to that and during our consultation, TreesCharlotte staff is actually going to have the trees that can be placed at your house. So please make sure it's a great time to talk about them. Even if you don't have to have a tree replaced, maybe you look at the list and you're like, I wouldn't mind having this tree planted. Is there a place that you would recommend based on your expert opinion? There will be lots of different species for you to choose from between small, medium, large, maturing trees, evergreens, and fruit-bearing trees. TreesCharlotte staff will create a planting plan of those tree replacement for you, just so we all know where the tree is going to be placed. For those people who are having to remove trees, let's talk a little bit about heritage trees versus historic district trees. So we know a heritage tree is any tree that is 30 inches or above here in Charlotte, part of our Unified Development Ordinance. Any heritage tree that comes down, TreesCharlotte will submit all the paperwork for you. That will be part of that conversation during our consultation, so that we can get everything situated so we're not going back, forth. So please make sure that you are ready to go so we can talk about what tree will be replaced as part of the heritage program that the city of Charlotte has. In addition, McCrory Heights is a historic district. As a result, any tree that is between 20 inches diameter at breast height, and I should have said that when I said the other thing about heritage trees, that is 30 inches DBH, so diameter at breast height. So just providing that information for you. For the historic district trees, that will be 20 inches to 29 inches. For the McCrory Heights neighborhood, we will have to do the same process, creating a planting plan, submitting the paperwork on behalf of the homeowner with the historic district to make sure we are in compliance if any trees need to be removed. So just as a quick, almost ending, these are our goals for our Treesilience Initiative to enhance the overall health of the tree canopy, right? Some of our Mature Canopy Care recommendations are going to be very basic: clean pruning, cleaning the crown of the tree, getting any dead limbs that are in there. Some will be very extensive, saying complete removal of a tree based on the health. All of that will be discussed during your consultation. As a reminder, here at TreesCharlotte, we always want to preserve the health of the tree, particularly as these neighborhoods are under canopied, meaning they are 40% canopy or below. So if you're looking at an aerial shot, how much of that area is covered by trees. We also want to strengthen the relationships with residents by creating solutions to their problems. We know that tree care can be very expensive. In fact, TreesCharlotte has spent tens of thousands of dollars on this initiative to make sure that everyone is receiving the positive benefits of trees. We know that can be a financial barrier for residents, and this is us helping to create a solution to make sure everyone receives the positive benefits of trees. by expanding opportunities to plant, but also making sure that their existing trees are healthy. We also want to help alleviate negative perceptions and experiences with trees, also exposing residents to learn more about the health of their trees. Really having that conversation with our arborists, really, we hope will give peace of mind to residents so that they feel comfortable with the trees in their yard. Um, As a last reminder, we want to thank our donors and volunteers with us. As mentioned earlier, TreesCharlotte does have a wide variety of corporate volunteers that enable us to do this great work. And those organizations are listed below. So thank you again for joining us at our Treesilience Mature Canopy Care workshop, virtual workshop, because many people were not able to meet the in-person workshop that were held last week. So if you have any questions or concerns, please contact a member of our Treesilience staff, being myself probably, or Cameron. My email is joy, at TreesCharlotte.org, or Cameron Smith at Cameron, CAMERN, at TreesCharlotte.org as well. And our information is definitely on the TreesCharlotte website, which is listed here. So we are extremely grateful that you took the time to watch this video to learn more about our Treesilience Initiative and how you can help us preserve the existing trees in these neighborhoods, but also to ensure that you all are receiving the positive benefits of trees. Thanks so much.